Yay, we're live! So we are planning for 2025 in the stream, and I'm very happy we have Daniel as a guest. He is full of wisdom. He can critique us and give us advice as need be. This is just a chill stream where we're going to talk about our goals for 2025 and kind of go through how we're going to actually make those successful and not just ideas in our head, And I'm streaming with my hands today. You can see me talk with my hands like a true Italian. I've got my notebook. I got my
practicing to be a hand model.
Yes, exactly. I don't think I have the right hands for that, but you can pretend. Fun. There we go. So I'm going to start by just writing down everything I want to do in 2025. I actually planned out back here.
Yeah, you are well organized.
Yes, I have January goals because I know that usually January is a quiet month. So I'm going to take advantage of that and use that to really catch up on tasks I've been wanting to do. I don't think you can see that dark one. Sorry, I need a better camera. But I've been wanting to do rebranding for forever. And I'm like, you know what? January might be the perfect month for that because I have an event I'm going to be at on the 25th. So it's the perfect time to experiment, see what works and what doesn't, And,
very cool.
Yeah. Yes, baby steps. I feel like I'm back to baby steps level, but that's okay. I'm okay with that because the past year I took a good hard look at everything for my business. I'm like, I think I need to make some changes because there are some things that take up my time and are not worth the money,
Yes. It's always good to reevaluate, and the yearly shift from one to the next seems to be the best time for most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a fresh start, you feel a little, it's a good time, and yeah, so I think I'm going to start with that. Actually, it's just write down the things I'm going to say goodbye to, at least, even if it's temporarily, like just maybe the first 6 months of the year, I'm just not going to do it. Or, yeah. And one of those is kind of like a weird thing, which is commissions. I'm not doing that in 2025.
Interesting.
And part of that is the past 2 years I've been doing commissions for authors, which I've absolutely enjoyed, but they take up a lot of time. And because of that, I'm like, all my main goals I want to do get pushed to the side because I put them first because they're paying me, right? So I'm like, the money it's good for income, but time-wise, it's actually not, if that makes sense.
So, it makes total sense. My entire business plan occupies most of my time.
Yeah.
Between editing a project, if it's a full-size novel, not like a big Chungus novel, but a full-size novel, it can take 4 weeks. That's a whole month.
Yeah.
And I can do 4 a month, but that occupies a large chunk of my time. And then you've got coaching clients, which is a random hour when they're available each week that I have to schedule. There's a lot that goes into being a professional service provider of some kind.
Yeah. And Emily says, yes, it's getting back my commissions to focus on my own stuff. And it's so hard to do because I do genuinely enjoy it, but I have to be honest with myself. And is that going to get me to where I want to be though? I will caveat that if I do more events in person, I might do like in-person sketch commissions or something because I'm already at a convention. I don't mind doing that. So it's something I'm kind of thinking of, but it also won't take up a lot of my time because I'm already right there.
That's true.
So I'm going to put potentially convention commissions.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, a lot of artists do that. Since I've moved like across states and stuff, I haven't been back in the convention scene. So I'm like, oh man, I miss it. So I want to I'm getting back into it with this one day event here in Louisiana. So
Good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll be making some appearances myself this year.
It's exciting. You have to keep us in the loop. I hope I can actually attend things more often this year too. Baby steps.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then another thing I'm going to be doing is getting rid of my coffee subscription, because that was primarily for my comic.
Mm-hmm.
And that also takes up a lot of time. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to continue that because I'm taking a break from the comic while I'm doing fulfillment, and I probably won't have anything new for a month or two to show. And I don't want to take people's money if I don't have anything to show for it, And it's also a lot of work. It's to update and then take that update and decipher what parts of that will be for people who aren't paying, like on social media and newsletter and stuff like that. So, and I've already let them know. It's only a couple of people. It's not that much. And I'd rather replace that with the YouTube membership, because it's a lower tier, and I've set it up where I'm not going to kill myself making content for it.
Yeah, I understand. I'm going all in on Twix. I'll still be uploading Iron Sage videos and stuff to YouTube as an afterthought, but my priority is just to do it all right on Twix. That's where most of the magic seems to happen. And really, this has been one of my fundamental issues with the internet since the inception of human branding, which was you got to be on every single social platform possible. Like, how are you supposed to exist while trying to keep up with them?
Yeah.
You can automate some of it, but it's just regurgitation. You're not like actually authentically growing multiple social media platforms at the same time by automating a cast out of one post.
Yeah.
Because you're not interacting with the audience on all of them. And if you are, you're wasting a ton of time.
Yeah, that's definitely been my struggle, because I'm like, oh, I want to grow my Instagram. And I'm like, YouTube for me seems to be working. So I should take advantage of that, and then take everything and branch it out once I have that more established, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I approach it that way, I might be able to grow my Instagram better. And then I have more like content to share, because I think that's our thing, is struggling to figure out what to post. Because Twitter, I'm like, I feel like chaos today. I don't know what I'm doing, And Instagram is a image-based platform, and I don't always have images to show.
True.
And YouTube, because I do a lot of videos, it's a little easier, because I can get those. I have a process enough where I don't spend too much time on it, or I don't get lost in like spending hours and hours on something. So it's something I'm still kind of struggling with, but I don't know.
Learning to use your time wisely is very difficult.
Yeah, because it's especially when you think you are, and then you're like, oh no, I'm not. And
but if you break it down, it can work out. This is part of my coaching system, is breaking things into 30 to 60 minute blocks. A lot of life coaches and stuff do that, but I apply it directly to creating specifically, which is you have an hour, you spend that hour doing one thing. When you're done doing that one thing for that 1 hour, when the timer goes off, you step away from it. You put it out of your mind. You go do something else. Do some housework. Go to work for your 8-hour shift. Come home, make some food. Maybe you take another half hour to revisit it at the end of the day. But in that breakup between the thing that we get caught up in, and I've seen this used in like Japanese businesses, business efficiency. The thing that we got caught up in is monotonous, constant time frames. So it's like for 4 hours, I'm just sitting here going,
Yeah.
and no, that's a great way to blow out your efficiency. You're not going to be able to get stuff done because you're getting bored. You're getting distracted by your own mind. So breaking it into 30-minute to 60-minute blocks keeps everything fresh. You're doing one thing for an hour, then you go do something totally different for an hour, or you go to work and you try to parse your workout in blocks, and it keeps your brain. Yeah, 8-hour work shift would be nice. Justin says.
Yeah. Those,
But it
remember
keeps
those?
your brain fresh. And Mike Barron on IAK the other day said he's always working on different projects, and if he gets stumped by one, he moves on to a different one. It's the same concept. You just cut it into bite-sized chunks. It's a weird statement, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest struggle, because I planned out my time, but because I have such limited time, because I have a day job, so I can only, and overtime happens, nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. So I think there are times when I panic and I shove as much as I can do for as long as I can without a break. Yep. I've gotten a lot better about it, but I definitely still have moments where I feel that.
One of the funniest things to watch on Twix is the writing community, where you get the large propensity of pantsers who just write whatever they're thinking about at the moment and apply it to their story. It's all inspiration based. They're like gung-ho for a day or two, and then the rest of the week every single post is, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, I can't bring myself to write. I'm like, just a little bit of preparation and efficiency, you'd be able to do it just fine.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard. I mean, yes, we all love to make up the excuse to sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yeah.
Even I do it.
Yeah. I actually don't have that issue. I think for me, what I've noticed, because I have to have something playing in the background while I work. And I noticed I stopped listening to music, and that actually has been more of a negative effect on me.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I had to bring that back, because that usually helps me get in the zone and I find myself more productive.
There's it depends on the person. Some people are far more analytical, and they're the ones that can't like write or create something while something else is going on in the background.
Yeah.
But most of the time, music specifically, maybe not lyrical music, it really depends on your capabilities, but music specifically, because it has a rhythm, it flows in a specific way, it actually aligns your neurochemical pathways, I guess, for lack of a better term. It helps streamline your thoughts, because then your mind also starts to think in those waves as it's going through the song. So you've got something to latch onto. It's a consistent rhythm or a consistent beat. It's like iambic pentameter, dum da dum da dum da dum da dum da dum. That's how that poetry was formed. It's the same thing. It's all rhythm.
Yeah. You're gonna get a full musical advice sequence. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it like that. I think too is when I'm writing or drawing, if the type of music that matches the scene also helps.
Yes.
And yeah, I think for monotonous tasks, non-music is fine, because there's no creativity involved really. And then with the creative stuff, I need to make sure I'm doing having music that coincides or helps me focus on it better.
Yeah, what's interesting for me, at least, I found, is the lo-fi music is great for menial tasks.
Oh yeah,
because it's all steady beats. And if it's all steady beats, it's almost like you're marching in that rhythm. And there's very little variation in lo-fi when it comes to the percussion, the beats underneath. The other sounds can be all different, but if you listen to it for say an hour while you're doing housework, you just find yourself flowing from item to item, and it's all orchestrated really well because it's a steady bump. At least it's what worked for me. For writing purposes, I have playlists, tons of them for every single thing that I've ever considered writing.
It's what I have done that. I have made playlists that go with my story, and I actually started ordering them the start of the story, and then it changes as it progresses.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps sometimes, but I have to go back to those stories. But all right, so this is going to be your theme song, I guess.
Yeah.
There we go.
I foresee an AI generated theme song in my future at this point.
Don't be a psychopath. It's doable. And then you can put that lovely theme song on your website when it comes back, and then there you go. Yep.
With all the rest of Justin's music he does for me.
Perfect. It's going to be an album.
Eventually, yeah, it's just going to be theme songs from Daniel's mind.
Yeah. That's like the perfect just theme. Like if you think about the covers or the CD covers and stuff, how they're just like slice of life sometimes, or just really fun. That's perfect.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's all I wanted to remove for 2025 that I can remember right now. It seems small, but it's got a big impact, and I think condensing it is what I need, especially when I have a day job that's like, hey, we got to do overtime today because all hell broke loose, And I'm like, oh, well, there go my plans. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's a little known thing for most people, actually, is in some circles you just call it grace. You give yourself the grace to have an off day. You give yourself the grace to get occupied because of overtime at work. You say to yourself, okay, well, I didn't do it today. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah. And I actually, all right. So goals for 2025. I'm going to write this down because I hate this. I like this pen, but I also don't. All right. For 2025, grace days, I'm going to call them, because I'm really bad at that, where it's impossible to work consistently 24/7 without anything ever interfering. It really is. And I struggle with that so much because I'm like, I'm just going to power through. It does not work like that. It just doesn't. I can get something done, but I cannot consistently power through 365 days a year. That's just unrealistic. And this past year, I thought I gave myself enough grace days, but since like end of July, it just like one thing after another. I'm like, holy shit. I clearly did not like anticipate any of these things happening, and it just totally ate up so much time. So I'm like, I need to plan for that again, or plan for things that happen and not overload myself. So
it's especially important when you're trying something new.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes, which means you're going to have off days.
Yeah. Sleep gets in the way. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. There are days I'm like, I just want to stay up till midnight working on this, but that's like not going to work long term because I'm going to burn myself out and be tired.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's all about balance.
Yeah, and I've gotten way better at it, but I definitely need to get better. Like, not perfect. Well, I guess perfect it as much as I can. So.
Yeah, it's all we can do.
Yeah.
Make each day a little bit better than the last one.
Yes. All right. So I have grace days. I am going to put main goal I want to do for 2025, which is the Pumpkin Prince Book 2. So that's one. And then I do want to try out a free webcomic type thing. I already have an idea for the story, and I'm not going to take it too seriously. I'm probably just going to put out a couple of pages, just to test out how webcomic works, how does this platform works. I want to try and use Global Comics for it.
It's a great platform.
Yeah, I like their user interface a lot. It's very intuitive, it's just very nice. And
I just finally got G Sedai issue number 2 up on Global Comic.
Nice. I think what I like about it too is I can create it like a normal comic and put those pages up there, because I don't remember what platform it was, Webtoons or something else, where you have to have a specific format to constantly scroll down, and that drives me nuts. I'm like, I could not do that. Because a lot of creators were saying they had to go back and readapt it to make a print comic out of it.
Yeah.
Or you had to take a print comic and readapt it for putting it on that platform. And I'm just like, that's too much work. That's a lot of realignment, reformatting. That's no.
Yeah. It can be very frustrating.
Yeah. I only have so much time in a day. So wow. This is looking really nice with all these scratchings and well, you guys can't really read that well anyway, so it's fine. Hello, please. No, welcome. So what kind of goals are you gonna start looking at? I don't want to overtake with just mine.
I have a lot coming up. I'm fairly certain I'm not going to succeed at it, but I'm going to give it a shot. My plan for 2025 is to get rolling on at least 30 minutes of content generated a day as far as a video is concerned.
Oh, wow.
The whole Iron Sage project is indie news and a little bit of commentary. So I'm hoping that I can keep enough from the community, enough information to populate a half an hour to an hour every day, but we'll see.
Is that going to be recording and putting it live every day?
Oh, no, wow. It's just going to be recording it and posting it.
And posting it, so same day or just?
Same day. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not planning on doing anything fancy, nothing too extravagant, because it's me and I'm not a video producer. I don't know how to do this crap. So it's just going to be my intro, some indie news, things that are coming up, things that are already out, sales that are going on potentially. If, folks clue me in, I've got an article on X all about it, and there's a link to a forum where people can just fill out that says, hey, this is going to happen, and then I check it every day, compile it, maybe comment on a couple of things that might be happening social media wise or like an upcoming convention, and then call it a day.
I like the idea of it. I do. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And dovetailing off of that is, at the same time, I'm hoping that this will also generate enough notification that I can populate a web page that's basically going to be a full spread showcase of as many independent creators and their projects as I can possibly do. So if someone shows interest in some indie projects, everybody can just point at that link and go, here, check all those out. This is the one-stop shop, so to speak.
And I like that. It's something I think is missing in the indie scene, honestly, is just that one-stop shop, especially with news, because we all see the campaigns and stuff going live, but then we kind of don't hear about what comes after.
Right.
And I think a lot of indie creators could definitely benefit from after the campaign, because then you say, here's where you can go buy it if you missed the campaign. Here's what they're working on now. It's not just here's the campaign and they disappear,
Yep. That's a big issue. And as much as we all love being indies, centralization has a few benefits.
Yeah.
like having everything in one place for people to find.
Yes.
You know, the decentralized mindset is wonderful. We all love our freedom, but that means that somebody that's interested in indie projects in general that might want to look at a couple of alternatives to Star Trek or alternatives to Rings of Power or something like that has to go look at all of these individual people's websites. And that's all well and good when you're invested, but it's much better for the browser to be able to browse a library.
That is true. Yeah.
And then find a person that they like, find a project that they like, and then go look at that project's website. Then go look at that person's website, sign up to their socials. We're just missing that first step. And that's what I'm going to try and bring to the indie scene.
I think that's a fantastic idea. And next year, I'm going to write this down as like a side goal, but next year I would really like to do like a Christmas shopping list where it's all the indie stuff. I think that would be amazing because then it's like, I want to get something that's like space themed or a game for a friend. And then you just put all the cool indie stuff there. And instead of going to buy the usual stuff at, Amazon or whatever, you have a unique option that,
It's a good idea. A lot of folks post their favorite books of the year, that sort of thing. I'm going to be doing something similar with the Iron Sage, which is I will be doing some interview videos with specific projects that I find interesting, and then hopefully once a month, and then towards the end of the year or right at the end of the year, I'll pick maybe like the top 3 or 4. I don't know exactly how many currently, but the favorites, and do a virtual what are they called, compilation magazine, etc., with just parts from those with the creator's permission. So maybe a chapter from each book, or a couple of pages if it's a comic book, and put it all together into a PDF, put it up on the website for free download.
I like that.
Check it out.
I think this is like that, what is it called? The start of that funnel. I think that's a fantastic thing to do, because you're kind of providing that funnel for indie creators because it's hard to do. Like, I completely, if people who aren't familiar with the funnel, basically you have something that gets a viewer's attention, and then eventually you get down to buying whatever it is you're selling. And it, in theory, and like when you see it, it's like, oh, that's easy, but executing it is not. It is just not easy. Like, you have to be like, okay, what does my audience like? Like, what brings them in? And then it's just not as easy as it sounds. So
it's very difficult. It's difficult, period. You have single creators like yourself who's done, the Pumpkin Prince, who now you have to attract people to that specific one project. But you also have multi-genre and multi-platform guys like myself who make books, comic books, and do video content and stuff. So that's like a bunch of different funnels.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get all of them to condense down into one spot, which is the subscribe or the buy option.
Yeah.
And it's crazy no matter what you do. I've been fiddling with this for 2 years now. We're moving into year number 3. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I think I'm at like technically 5 year for my business. And I'm like, the past 2 years is when I finally was like, hold on. I like selling things on Etsy and conventions, but my whole purpose was I wanted to make stories. I wanted to make my characters. I want to make fun stuff again. And I was like, I need to totally change my focus and where I'm going. And I finally feel like I'm on the right path. And now it's like I have to do the work. I have to get the comics and make them, but I'm enjoying it, which makes me happy. And I'm still doing like just making like Halloween monster themed merch and stuff as well, because I still enjoy that. And I still want to create that kind of product because I know not everyone is going to be interested in my story stuff. I like to have, I just like to make the stuff. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And it's also good for conventions because if people aren't interested in the comics, oh, don't worry, I got some extra stuff on the side. You know, you might like to. And yeah.
That's why I have the t-shirts.
yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, because I think having extra merch, some people like, for me personally, sometimes I just like the merch and I'm like, I don't know what your story is about when I'm at conventions and stuff, but I like this. I'm just gonna buy this for this sticker because it's cool, you know. So I want to have that kind of option. Another thing, another goal for 2025 is my email list. I really want to grow that, and I'm trying really hard to get people to sign up for it, but I also need to figure out how, or the content I'm putting out for it. That's my big struggle right now. Hello, Creo Welshman. No, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today is an early stream.
It's my fault.
No, it's okay. we're trying out new time slots.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I'm so tired of doing live streams when I'm bone weary at the end of the day.
I totally get it. That's why I'm like, do you want to do an early stream? Because I'm a little tired. Oh, nice. Record a couple videos, upload them later next year. Nice. Hello, Vulcan. I'm giving the chat some love. Sorry, guys. I am reading and responding. I'm just not showing on the screen. Oh. It is fun, but let me tell you, finishing my first one, I'm just like, I knew it would be hard and challenging. I just did not understand to the degree it would be, you know. So I have learned so much. Yeah. But I'm happy with what I produced though. And I've learned a lot. So going into book 2, I feel more prepared, I guess, and more confident. I don't know. We'll see.
But you're also doing your own art.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah. For me, I don't. If you want stick figures and panels, I can do that for you. But you know, to create something dynamic, I had to hire an artist, and then it's a matter of communication and patience.
Yeah.
Which is an even bigger step because
yes,
it takes a lot of. My artist is fast, but it still takes some time, and I have to, you know, when's it going to be ready? When's it going to be ready?
Yeah, I totally understand. Like from the commission side as being the artist, I totally can understand where you're coming from because I did my best to be like, okay, I'm going to get you the next version of this by this date. And then I feel bad because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if like 2 days from now wasn't fast enough, you know? Like but realistically, that's how much time it would take, you know? So it's like, yeah, I understand where you're coming
that's
from.
one thing that art commission seems to be lacking, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm just saying.
Oh no, you can throw shade, it's okay.
Every single artist that I've ever commissioned to do anything never gives me a time frame.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. That was my panic, is not giving a time frame because okay, so I've been doing commissions for actually a very long time, but I stopped doing them for a while. And watching commission artists do this for a living and watching the biggest fuck up was always time. They take the commission and they just disappear.
Yep.
And that stressed me out so much. I'm like, I get it takes time, but I'm like, how can you sleep at night? I would be freaking out 24/7. So I'm over here just like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that artist. So when I started taking commissions, I'm like, I need to give you time frames because I want to earn your trust.
Right.
You know, like you're giving me money and I want you to be confident in giving me that money. So
yeah,
every time like that's why I'm like, here's a time frame. And I made sure to give myself wiggle room. Like technically this would take me a day to do, but because I have like things going on, I'm going to give this to you like 4 days later. That way, if there's anything that comes up, we're okay. We're both okay. We have a worst case scenario time frame and we're okay. And then I feel better. Like, hey, I got this done 2 days early. Good.
Mhm.
So things are going faster.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised that's not schedule isn't a thing. All right. So any artists watching this, start giving time frames. You're going to make yourself feel better and you're going to make your client feel better.
Yep. I've gotten used to being patient, and my philanthropist's heart chalks failures up to just charity. I've had for the second, was it the second book? I think it was the second comic. Yeah, G Sedai #2. I had an artist reach out that was a little hard up at the time, and I was like, yeah, okay, you can make a cover for me, I'll pay you to do it. And he never did. Can't tell if it's bull or not, but he claimed medical emergency, and I was just like, okay, whatever, dude, I hope you feel better, and let it go. Same thing with another artist who was just doing some concept art for my superheroes for Legacy of Heroes. I paid him for 5 and he produced 1 in a year.
Oh my gosh.
And never got back to me about the rest of them. So I'm just like, if they show up, they show up at this point.
Oh my gosh. That's like, oh, I can't. That like gives me such severe anxiety. like I don't understand. Like, how do you? Oh, I'm sorry that happens, because like every time I see that, I'm like, why? And just communicate. Like 90% of it is, hey, I had some things come up. Can we delay this like a month? Sounds good. Good. Just talk. Oh.
It is what it is. I mean, you probably can't see it very well, but the black t-shirt under the red t-shirt, that particular image was created by an incredible artist. His name is Kenny, and he takes a really long time to do these things. And he actually got to a point where he said, I'm going to stop doing commissions because it takes forever between my day job and my life responsibilities and the quality of the art that I want to create.
Yeah.
I can't commit to time. So I'm going to stop doing commissions. I said, that sucks, dude, because I really love your work. Like 2-3 weeks ago, he goes, yeah, I miss drawing. And I've reached out and I just said, look, if you want to do one of the projects that you and I had talked about before, take your time, and when it shows up, I'll pay you for it. I'm down because I love your style. And he said, oh, all right, cool. So when it shows up, I will hand him money and then I will generate another piece of merchandise from that, because these things are beautiful. I mean, hang on. I could probably get this one down without upsetting the apple cart too much.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly, you probably give him. It is beautiful. It really is. And I think that's like the best thing an artist can hear, because you take the pressure off of them, where if they can't do it, there's no money exchange. So it's not as stressful, Yeah,
but a lot of them want the money up front,
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't blame them, but gotta fulfill your end of the deal though. And that's actually really nice, Jose, because you're developing good habits before you start taking money. That is such a big deal. That's a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, I lost my train of thought with this. Oh man.
Sidetracked.
Yeah, I could go on rants about commission artists and the things that they do to that stress me out. It's the art community in general. Like I could just I could stir the pot. I could kick the hornet's nest right now if I wanted to. Because man, there are some things I see. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Stop.
Yeah, the art community between the hard up starving artists and the scammers, man, it's like
Yeah.
dipping your toe into piranha infested water.
Yep.
At one point, like I want to say 2 years ago, right when I first started, I'm looking for an artist on Twitter, and good fucking lord, pardon my language, but blah, notifications. They just didn't stop for days.
Yeah. It's well, have a good time, Felice. Thank you for stopping
Take
by.
care,
Have a nice
Felice.
time at church. Yeah, it's one day I'm gonna kick the hornet's nest and be like, you know what, art community, we have to have a heart to heart. You guys fucking suck right now. We need to fix some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
actually,
it makes the creative process so much easier when you've got people that you can build trust with. And most artists, unfortunately, they start on the wrong foot.
yeah. Or they come out with bad advice from the wrong people, which I have seen so often lately. And I'm like, no. And I'm just sitting here just like, oh, I need to go say a prayer for you because you're going in the wrong direction. You got the wrong advice. You got advice for when you're at a certain level and you're not even there yet. And it's just I feel bad for a lot of artists because a lot of them do try, but they are so stuck in their bubble that they never give themselves a chance to like actually be successful.
Right.
And it's actually a good thing to do. Creative Welshman, the 50% upfront.
Yep.
I don't do that anymore, but I used to do that. Like, hey, if it's something you're not sure about, we can do this instead. Especially if it's someone you're working with that's new. I actually have it in my contracts. Like, you will get a refund if things don't go well. But depending on how far along the project is, it may not be a full refund. If I screw up, you're getting a full refund no matter what. Like I take it like I'm working for, a large client. I take it that seriously.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do ghostwriting on the side. It's not something that's lucrative because it's very difficult to do, but it's nice for a little extra money. And it's, when I say a little extra money, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually an interesting aggregation. It can take roughly a year to ghostwrite someone else's story.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working on your own thing, you can get into a pace of inspiration, but when you're working off of someone else's template, it's a totally different thing. So you have to find a nice balance of the emotional resonance, even though it's not genuinely coming directly from you because you're writing someone else's story. And I'll say it flat out, it's 10 grand to do, but it's 10 grand aggregated over 12 months.
So yeah, it's not a lot.
No, so I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not a lot.
Yeah,
but it seems like it.
Yes, and I think that's a misconception a lot of people have. Like, oh, you made 10 grand on this, but when you start looking at how much time is being spent over a course of that year, like you said, it's not. It's a good bump. It's a nice, income, but there's expenses and everything else, and
that becomes an issue when you're talking about services and quality. With a $10,000 investment that the client decides to back out of in month 6,
and then you start losing that. So it's like,
yep.
Well, that sucks. And
then
I think
it becomes an issue.
Yeah, that's a project scope that I think a lot of people miss. They don't. So I listen to a lot of business videos and stuff, and one trend I have noticed is when they talk about what their income is versus expenses, half of what you bring in is going to go right back to your expenses. So
at least.
Yeah, at least. And that's not even including paying yourself.
Yep. Most of the time you don't get to.
Right. Yeah. Like I have it set up where I pay myself like 20% of the income per month, whatever. So I'm like, I get $5 this month, if it's a small month, but I don't actually fall through with it all the time because it's going right back into the business.
Right.
It's nowhere near yet where I can give myself a consistent income, but
Oh yeah, no, I've got a ton of projects out there for people to purchase, and even I'm not at a position where I could just step back from doing actual work.
yeah, it's not happening. But
It all funds itself. Like currently,
yes.
I don't spend any personal money on any project that I start because it all comes from the business account. But I don't make
that's
any actual money off of it.
right. That's like my main goal. As long as the business is self-funding, I am fine because that means I'm on the right track where I can start scaling it up and actually pay myself a little bit more than $20 a month.
Yep.
Granted, $20 is great because I'm putting it towards student loans and stuff like that. That
Right.
helps in the long run. But obviously, I want to increase that. But right now, it's at a really good spot financially. I want to keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that's why I'm looking at walking away from comic books after I finish the G Sedai run with 6 issues, unless it starts to make insane leaps and bounds sales wise. The sustainability isn't there for me because I'm not an artist. I have to pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
my comics cost roughly $3,000 to produce.
Yeah, I can see it.
So if I'm not making $3,000 off of each comic to fund the rest of them, it's not a sustainable thing. So I'm going to finish the story out and let it ride from there. If there's sudden interest that increases the value to keep doing so, sure, I'll keep doing it. But when you're a business person, not just a creative person, you have to look at these metrics. It's very important to do that, or else you're going to start wasting your money on what is essentially a vanity project at that point.
And that's such a hard pill to swallow. It really is. But that's why I'm like, I need to take a good hard look at things I'm doing this year and figure out if it's not financially good, I just need to let it go. And I can come back to it later. It doesn't have to be gone forever.
No,
and I think
never.
That's what people struggle with too, is when you let certain things go, you feel like you failed. And it's like, it's okay. Most business owners fail a gazillion times before something sticks. It's learning from that failure, like, hey, right now this isn't working, and I can always come back to it later if I want to.
Absolutely.
And I think you don't have to stay committed to something that's failing.
No.
It's okay.
Nope. I think, do not go down with the ship.
Yeah, don't do that. I think it kind of ties into with my rebranding because I kind of look at what my business and values are, like what does it stand for? And a lot of it was fun, freedom, story, and I'm like, but visually it doesn't really reflect that right now. So, and I need a new logo. I just need a new logo. I slapped something together from the old one. It just needs to be more recognizable. The name itself works. I get compliments on it all the time. I had to call the IRS to change my address for something, and they were laughing. I'm like, if I can make the IRS guy laugh at my business name, it's fine, So I've been re-looking at colors for the branding because right now purple, it doesn't really pop. It just doesn't, and I know that. And I've been struggling with it for a while, and my boyfriend suggested look at Halloween candy, because monsters and Halloween is like my inspiration for everything. And I'm like, okay, so if I can pick some good colors that are fun and represent fun, like a good purple, a good orange, or a good green, or whatever, then I can start taking that and making it into the logo, into like packaging and stuff like that. And I think I picked some colors the other day. So
Nice.
yeah, so I think that's why January is going to be like finalize some color themes and see how they work and test them out and go from there. I already have someone I want to do the logo for. He did the logo for the pumpkin prints, which I was really happy with. And what I need to do though is not overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
I have redesigned my logo by myself at least 5 times. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. And then I'm like, oh no, I hate it. And then I have to go back to the drawing board each time because I keep overthinking it. Oh, so
yeah, it happens. Way back when I first opened Whimsyland, because I am now the owner of 3 businesses. But way back when I started Whimsyland, my daughter drew the logo, which was the little fairy dragon that I have up on everything. Its name is Peric Star. It's from my first published novel series, Tales of Halcyon, which I'm working on a rebrand of as well. But she drew it when she was 12, 13. So it was a little crude.
Yeah. But
it was cute. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm sold. It's got the name Whimsyland at the bottom of it. The dragon looks like it's standing on it. It's cute. So I used it. I used it for well over a year. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to really make this happen, become fully professional and push for this to be a viable business that I can make money off of, I need to look a little bit more professional. Do I want to get a new logo? No. I love what my daughter did. So instead, I hired an artist with more experience and skill to work with her on the colors and designs. And that's what we have now. And now we have the Whimsyland, fairy dragon standing on top of the bubble letters for my Whimsyland Literary Coaching Services. And then we also have the sleeping version for Whimsyland Productions, which is the 3rd business that covers all of my sales.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's something I need to do. Like, look back at my variations. Like, if it worked and it just needs a little bit of a tune-up, maybe that's all it needs.
Yeah, exactly. And some fresh colors. Absolutely.
Yeah. I overthink it so much, though. I think that's why I hired someone to do the Pumpkin Prince logo, though. I'm like, I can't do this. It will never get done if I'm responsible. I need to, and I think that's something I really learned about myself the past year is sometimes I need to give it to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
If I see myself struggling with a decision on it and I'm overthinking it, that means it's not for me to do.
Yep.
It's just not. And that's been a very hard pill to swallow because I'm very much that I'm going to do everything by myself and I would be super independent. Yeah. And
there's no shame in that, but there's also no shame in saying, I don't know. For a brief period of time, I was the personal assistant to a multimillionaire local, just helping him with office duties. And I would ask questions about the different parts of his business. And most of the time he said, I don't know.
I believe it.
But when it came to who do I talk to about making sure this happens, he knew exactly who to point at. Like, yeah, you go talk to this guy because he knows. I don't know. He knows. And that's not overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
That's the simplified version of business practice. You hire people who know how to do the job, and then you point at them when somebody asks a question.
Exactly. Like, that's what I've been hearing lately too. And I'm like, it's true. And what was it? There was a book I was reading, and they actually had, I think it was the American Metal Company whoever founded it, I forgot his name. They actually put him through a trial about not knowing how to run the business. They were trying to make him seem stupid because he didn't have a full college degree or something. But the business was successful. But they were trying to make it out like he didn't know what he was doing. And he got so tired of being like interrogated about his intelligence, about stupid facts. And he goes, "Why would I sit here and tell you all these things when I know people who can answer it for me?" And I was like, "Well, shit," because that's a good point. You know, like knowing where your weakness is and being able to say, "I don't know this, but I know someone who does."
Yep.
And
That's been the one thing I look for every time I go to do something. When I wanted to make a comic book, I looked for a comic book artist and try to do it myself, or else it would just be really poorly drawn stick figures swinging stick arms at each other. You know, if because I don't know crap about marketing, I have other people who tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you're good at something, do it. If you're not good at it, find someone who is.
Exactly. And that's
network.
Yes. And that's something I need to put that down as a goal. Reach out for help, because it's also like in my genetic code, because my siblings are the same way. It's like, we'll just do it ourselves, you know. And like, no, I need to start being more open to reaching out to people.
Yeah, it's been hard. I'm Gen X. My whole mentality is we'll fucking do it live.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but at a certain point, it is unrealistic to consistently do it live. I can't do it all.
Yeah, exactly. And when I've broken my leg and I'm laying on the ground, that's when I go, somebody help.
It's like, well, shit. You gotta swallow your pride and finally reach out to someone. And I feel bad too, because a lot of people are like, "Hey, if you ever need anything, just let me know." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, thanks." And then I never do. And I feel like an asshole because I don't. But I'm not doing it because I don't think they can't help. It's because I feel like, one, I can just do it. And two, I feel like I'm like wasting their time when that's not the case. Because I know if it were me and someone asked me for something, I'd be like, "Yeah, let me help you." It might take a little while, depending on what it is, but yeah, I can definitely help with whatever. So I think I need to.
The hardest pill to swallow is you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is.
By not reaching out. Yeah, you waste your time instead of, getting someone who can do it more efficiently.
Yeah.
To help you out.
Especially when they have the experience. Because
nothing wrong with learning new things, but a little bit of discernment.
We're getting deep here, guys. We're going into let's have some self-reflective moments. But it's good. Like, this is like the right time to do it. And normally I would have this done like much sooner, but my priority was the Pumpkin Prince campaign, and I'm so relieved it's finally done at the printer. And I think
interesting what Jose just posted.
Oh, always remember not to let your hopes up. Everybody wants me to yes. Yeah. Nothing you get a small fandom for your story. And that's what I would love. If it gets bigger than that, cool. But
there's nothing wrong with hope. What people tend to do is assume instead of hope.
Oh, there we go. That's a good point.
There's nothing wrong with hoping that your particular project, the Pumpkin Prince, G Sedai, Legacy Heroes, anything that I've created, there's nothing wrong with hoping that somebody catches wind of it, looks at it, and goes, "This is really cool. I'm going to go tell all of my wealthy friends." There's nothing wrong with that. But both George R.R. Martin and Stan Lee, if you know about Stan Lee's original idea before the Marvel stuff was to do comic strips about normal people doing normal stuff. He just wanted to create slice of life, cozy comic strips. He didn't want to make superheroes. He was actually told to make them more interesting. And once he started once he started doing it, he thought this was really cool. It's actually a lot of fun, and everybody clued in on it and went, this is the greatest thing in the world. So let's, start investing in it. And Marvel had its big boom at that point. But Stan didn't go, he went into it going, I hope people like what I want to create. He didn't go into it thinking, I hope I make $1 million.
I like that perspective. So hope, just don't assume.
Yeah. And George Martin wrote a bunch of TV shows long before he actually put out his now well-known fantasy crap. And I call it crap because he literally was famous through coattail writing. He knew so many people in production and publishing and television that he had folks funding him. Or else we never would have heard of this darn book.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought, because everyone plays it off like he's a nobody that became a somebody type thing.
Nope. He was writing TV shows for 25, 30 years beforehand. He wrote the old back, I want to say mid 80s Beauty and the Beast TV series with Ron Perlman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, he's been writing for decades before Song of Fire and Ice took off. And it was totally because he built a network of people that could fund him breaking out that way. And you read the books, it's not because he's talented. He's not talented.
Yeah, I think after the show and like hearing how first of all, I don't even know when the last book he wrote came out. It was like years ago.
It was.
But someone made a really good point that the problem with his writing is he doesn't want the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it always seems to fall flat. Jon Snow could have been a hero and actually saved the day and had a good ending to his arc, but he didn't want him to be that.
Nope.
So he doesn't feel fulfilled. He doesn't feel fulfilled when with his story. His beauty rights.
Perlman was Beast, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forget who the actress was that played the girl though. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember this. I'm really behind on. I don't even know if I remember that existing.
Most people don't, and that's what the point I'm making is. You wouldn't realize that he was doing anything because practically everything that he was doing was mid at best for decades. And he just had enough wealthy people who went, hey, look at this thing. And everyone who followed them went, we're going to look at this thing. Oh, isn't this so cool? Then they made a TV show about it. Isn't it so great? And why did they make a TV show out of it? Because he's been writing TV shows for decades.
Jeez.
He's Hollywood produced.
A lot of sense. Damn. Yep. Well, I'm glad I didn't really. I'm one of those people that I usually watch season 1 of something and I'm done because I know it'll never be good again. And that seems to if it passes a second season test for me, then it's good. But it just doesn't. Then I didn't mind.
I tend to be 5 episodes as far as testing is concerned. If I don't like something within 5 episodes, I don't continue watching it.
Yeah, the only time I ever forced myself to keep going was Sabrina. I tried so hard. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Yeah. I couldn't stand it. When her friend became blind, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I cannot do this anymore. Why do I care? We never see this character being a great friend, and I'm supposed to care if she's losing her eyesight. And then her other friend's been being bullied, and the only time Sabrina cares is when her friend sticks up for herself. I'm like, Sabrina's just a jerk.
Sociopath.
She's just not a good person. I'm like,
yep.
What kind of friend watches their other friend be bullied consistently, and the only time she wants to get involved is when her friend finally sticks up for herself?
Yeah, it's fair. Jose's response, agreed. dream small, have a more
Yeah.
grounded mindset. Becoming a best-selling author that makes millions of dollars is a recent trend. Most writers of literature throughout the ages never had the mindset that they were going to do that for a living. They were doing it for fun.
Yeah. That's what I think is missing overall.
A. Milne, creator of Winnie the Pooh, created those stories just for kids that he knew, family and friends. C.S. Lewis wrote because he felt compelled to. He thought it was interesting and wanted to do so. Our great and glorious Tolkien had that story in his head, and it needed to come out, or it was going to drive him crazy. He was doing just fine on his scholastic achievements. I forget the actual term, but basically a linguistic professor. They all did it for fun, like most of us do. It's when you try to apply a cash value to what you create, that's when unrealistic expectations set in. As everybody thinks in terms of financial stability. Do you make enough money? Do you make enough money to provide for your family? If the answer is yes, you are successful. If the answer is no, you are not successful. And then you look at starving artists, like visual artists. They spend hours and hours and hours and days and days and days and weeks and weeks working on this painting. Are they doing it for fun? Or are they doing it to try to get into an art gallery and sell it for $50,000?
Yeah. Yeah. I think people respond too when you're doing something for fun. They're more responsive. Like they can tell. It's like that concept of a customer knows when you're trying to BS them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think people feed off of that. That's why I'm like, that's why fun is like my primary goal with my brand. It's like, yes, spooky horror and like deep stories sometimes, or actual horror. So I would love to do some short stories that I have in mind, but I'm doing it because I have fun doing it, and I want to share that fun and encourage it. It's like it's just the planning part. So right here, what I'm trying to do, I did this last year. It's just like rough out each month, like what I want to do, so I can break all this stuff down into smaller tasks. And
it's good.
Yeah, and what I'm gonna try and do to actually do something with my email newsletter and stuff is maybe proactively make a theme for each month to send out that monthly email. That way I'm not scrambling last minute to send something.
What is your goal with the mailing list?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I want people to stay up to date on things I'm working on.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't really care about social media, or they may not care about like the YouTube videos, or they may not have a way to stay up to date on the big projects I'm doing, like my comics and stuff like that, or conventions, for example. So I kind of want that to be like a monthly mailer where it's like, hey, here are some things that have happened or will be happening next month. In case you missed it or you want to take part in it, keep an eye out. And some of it too is just, hey, this is some cool stuff I'm working on. I just want to let you know what's going on behind the scenes. I think that's my big struggle though, is the purpose of it. Like obviously I want them to stay up to date on what's happening, but I don't want it to be so redundant that it's not worth reading anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've struggled with.
Yeah, mailing list, like trying to keep consistent updates with a mailing list is an exercise in futility. Unfortunately, it's still the most successful way to generate sales, yes, but that's where your mind has to you have to decide what your goal is. If your
Yeah.
goal is to continue to generate sales of your products, then that's what your mailing list should be about. If your goal is just to update the people that have subscribed, then that's what it should be about. And you just make it fun from there. Maybe, generate it from the position of a character. I know Nick, I think it was Nick Picone told me about a guy who generates all of his mailing list updates and notifications as like pieces of a choose your own adventure.
Oh.
So he sort of fiction writes the whole thing to make it fun and interesting, and that's his theme. And that works because he's just looking to update, and when he wants to make a sale, then the narrative is based around that. This thing is now in front of you. What are you going to do? Are you going to pick it up, or are you going to walk away from it? Using the choose your own adventure style. So yeah,
I think that's a really
find your
awesome.
focus and then tailor your themes each month around that. If you've got a release coming in that month and in the previous couple of months, you start adding that into the theme of what you're going to be talking about in your newsletter.
Yeah, I think maybe what I'll do is make it a goal to sign up for more indie newsletters to kind of get an idea of that. Because I think part of the issue I have is I'm not looking at it from an indie creator perspective for this. I'm looking at it from a super business perspective, which isn't bad. But if I'm losing that element of like me and the brand and all the cool stuff I want to do, then it's gonna be muddy.
Yeah, definitely keep it authentic.
Yeah.
And
I think
consider the soft launch is supposed to be 3 to 6 months before the project releases.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at that. So
make a note of that on your page there.
I'm going to. Actually, oh shit, that would be March is my soft launch. Hold on, calendar.
That's when you start talking about it in your newsletter.
Oh fuck, that is true. Because if I were to, at the latest, if I were to launch in October, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so March would be when I start talking about it. Oh man. Okay. Soft launch project 2. Put project 2.
I don't recommend scrolling through my Twitter profile, but if you do feel compelled to do so for hours, you'll note that I do that as new pages come in for the comic. Those are my updates. I pop a couple of panels in, I make a post about it and put it up there, and it does essentially the same thing as the mailing list. I'm not a huge fan of mailing lists, mostly because I unsubscribe to everything.
I know. I think that's my biggest struggle is if I sign up for a mailing list, 9 times out of 10, actually no, the one I actually do pay attention to. I pay attention because it's writing related. She gives out downloads to go with her videos once in a blue moon, but there are also videos that focus on planning, refocusing, and things I feel like I need. And if I were to do that, I'm like, okay, what could I give my viewers or my subscribers something that they need? And I think that's my struggle. Like, what can I? It's like trying to figure out that void I'm feeling for people. Like, my side focus that I love talking about is business. I really love that. It's always fun for me to listen, to plan, to figure things out. But that's not why people are subscribing to the newsletter.
True.
And I don't want them to subscribe for that. It's like things to think about.
Well, that's why I said, try to keep it authentic, but also keep it oriented to what it is that you want to do. Because if you don't have anything to say that's going to be received, are you wasting your time
Right.
just generating something? Bland platitude. You see them all the time on social media and scroll right by. So what is it about your newsletter headline that's going to make people actually open it up and read it? And then once they do open it up, what's going to make them read all the way to the end?
What if, because I do want to do like some small short stories. What if, because I'm trying to focus on story and character and things that I've wanted to forever, like a monthly short story, and then use that as like a catalyst to get them to open it and read it. This is a lot of work already. I already know this may not be the best thing to do. But maybe use that to get them to open and then be interested in the other stories I have or the other things I'm working on. It's related to story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like throwing spaghetti at the wall right now. Because I want to be authentic, but I feel like sometimes I'm too authentic and then I sound like I'm rambling because that is a problem I have.
Well, people like that, they'll listen to you if they find it interesting. So,
Tyler, I need to subscribe to his newsletter and see what it's like. I think that's what I need to do. But it's also
Tyler's a great resource.
He is. I follow everything. I bookmark so much of his stuff. I think it's just the hard part of how do I apply my goals and values into what he's saying, and that's what I'm slowly doing. And I think I'm kind of getting somewhere. I don't know. Some days I'm like, I don't know if this is even working, but I'm doing it. Posting some short stories would be a good idea.
Yeah, I agree with Jose. Posting some short stories does sound like a good idea if you have the content to post.
Yeah. And that's my problem is I have all the ideas, but I'm like, hold on, the time. I need the time. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. But I do have some that are already in my head. Some of them I've already like drafted from like years ago that could just use a touch up. If I do it like a quarterly short story, maybe that would be more realistic for me. Like 2 to 3 pages, nothing big, very short.
It doesn't even have to be that. If you're going to write 2 to 3 pages, your average email is half a page long.
Oh, that's true.
So in theory, if you're going to write 2 to 3 pages of a story, write 2 to 3 pages of a story and then break it up into pieces and use those in your updates.
Yeah. Okay. Write that down.
Then you're incentivizing the person to open the next one if they want to know the rest of the story.
Sorry, I'm writing. My chicken scratch here.
Okay. You're good.
And I write fast. It's only legible to me. So apologies if anyone's zooming in. Okay, that's okay.
From what I can see, your handwriting is much better than mine. I'm pretty sure my handwriting would make doctors go, "What the hell is this?"
The famous doctor handwriting. Okay. I feel like an epiphany has been made. I like that. Okay. So that's something I can play with, though. I mean, even if it doesn't like pan out, it's something for me to experiment with and try. And I think I would have a lot more fun doing that than, hey, I have some videos I posted. If you missed them, here they are. I feel like that's so bland, and I like to have more fun. And to be fair too, the whole like concept around my email list it's called the peeper mail, and they're these little creatures that like spy on what I do, and then they tell everybody. It's kind of like I think if I make them from that perspective and not feel weird doing it, I think it'd be more fun as well.
Well, like Jose just mentioned, great ideas so far. What about little comic strips?
Oh, Jose, you're onto a lot of things here. You need to start implementing them for yourself. But yes, he has some little comic strips which are fun. That's also another idea. And I think that works too because I can sketch stuff out pretty quickly. And if I allow myself to keep them just fun sketches, I think I can do it.
Yep.
And not try and I gotta perfect the line. I gotta put the color in. So I'm gonna write that down too.
Sorry, I'm laughing at skunks.
What did he do? I just have
He can't confirm that my handwriting is atrocious because he has a signed copy of G Sedai at home. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
it's just swishes at this point.
Yeah.
In
There
a
we go.
vague
Like that.
shape. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think
All
the
right,
only legible letter in the whole set is the P.
All right, so do.
Yeah.
Perfect. I can sign things for you now.
Manufacturer. Yeah.
Oh man. I feel this is good. This is very helpful. And I hope people who are watching this feel like it's like giving them good brain food. All right. So what am I going to do in March? I think I'm going to just leave it for the first quarter and implement a lot of these ideas in the first quarter. Just kind of get my feet wet, see what's working, what's not, and then come back to quarter 2 and either remove some things or revise them to be better, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that works. All right. So March, I'm going to do a quarter 1 review. We'll hopefully have a couple pages of webcomic done.
Why would Bryce be disappointed?
He's always disappointed in us.
Well, yeah, but I specifically wanted to know why.
Oh, yeah, get those. Being interactive was hard. I'm just going to put this up here so we can have it on the big
is it because of the cursive?
Oh, does he not like cursive?
No, he loves cursive.
Oh. All right, so never do cursive to make Royce happy. Okay. All right. I don't want to put any financial goals for quarter 1 because I'm doing so much new stuff and rebranding and everything. I think that's just not going to like work.
I was right.
In your handwriting, yep.
Yes.
There we go. In your handwriting. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to stream more consistently because I really enjoy doing the indie takeover stuff, even though it takes up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to do it. So I'm going to make a note here too. Reevaluate time slots for streaming. Because I think that may help. Because if I do it at night, I feel like I lose. This is going to sound really bad. I feel like I lose time when I do them, but not in a bad way because I enjoy doing them. I like to showcase other people's stuff. I think it's important to do, and I learn a lot too. I think I just need to be mindful of when I do them.
Yeah, I can see that. I also think we have a tendency to get way too far into the weeds every time we get on live streams. Like
Yes.
I wonder why live streams are as long as they are every time I watch one.
Yeah, I don't mind it if it's a cooking
Indie makeover.
I can make some good stuff. I made a homemade apple pie from scratch. Like I gutted the pumpkin and everything. So I could do that. Actually I know exactly what I would make. So I'm gonna hold that card close. With beauty products indie makeover. Oh, I can't do that one. Sorry. I could cheat and have my sister do it because she's a makeup artist. So, all right. Well, I spoiled
Gaming
that.
the system.
Exactly. Lost my train of thought here. Oh, the streams. Like I know this is like over an hour, but I feel like it's very productive. So yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Why they're so long. That's why I try to keep them like to an hour and a half for things like the indie takeover. Unless it's like a really good conversation, which usually happens. And maybe I need to look at my streams too and like be more intentional with them. Like I want to stream art. Well, is there something else I can add to it besides just art?
Mhm.
You know, like add more value besides, yeah, I'm drawing, you know, maybe it's something I've been thinking about for videos as well. Like I want to do more artwork based videos because that goes along with this channel. And my biggest struggle is how do I make that interesting? Because I have my weekly sketch videos I do on Sunday, which is mainly just me holding myself accountable to improving as an artist. But if I want to talk, I should be providing something of value in that conversation. You know?
Mike Miller recently started doing another version of his drawing streams, but these ones are specifically around his faith, and he's been very happy with doing them, where he works on whatever project he's working on and he talks about specific subjects and, you know, interacts with the chat, of course, if he's doing it live. But
Mhm.
you know, most of the time it's just picking one subject and talking about it. So maybe coming up with a planned schedule of subjects while you do your drawing. So you're going to work on whatever you're working on, that's on the screen, but you're talking about that specific subject on that specific day.
Yeah. I think if I limit those to like an hour, I think that would be more beneficial.
Yeah.
So I think I mean, obviously, like I said, things can go longer depending on how the conversation is going. But if I limit it to an hour to start with, I think that conversation would go over much better. I think part of it too is there are some subjects I would want to talk on, but they're very kick the hornet's nest type topics. And I have a low tolerance for just stupid people in general who don't like hearing a different opinion. So I'm like, do I have the emotional capability right now to deal with that? You know? Okay, first of all, this is disgusting.
Yep.
We need to. You're banned. You're banned. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah.
Justin just getting kicked out of stuff.
Yeah. That is true, Creator Boschman. How to figure out how Royce upset half the human race. Yeah.
Just
That's organically though. That's like an
Yeah.
organic thing. And I would never want to force that. And I have a dry sense of humor. So I don't know if I could I don't know.
Too.
Yeah. I'm like, haha, I made a funny joke and it's like the stupidest, dark, dry joke. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just me laughing. And now I sound like a satanic person, I guess. I don't know. It tastes terrible. No. Well, actually, you would be right because everyone would be talking about how awful that tasted. All right, so your tactic is to make something so bad people can't stop talking about it.
Yes.
Oh man. All right.
Justin's just gonna generate hate.
Yeah. Good job.
Bad taste, bad food.
Yeah. You know, I think that's what it is. I don't want to generate hate, but there are topics I want to talk about because they need to be talked about. So maybe if I can find a way
just
to
talk about them.
Oh, sorry.
I say just talk about them.
Yeah. All right. Well, if I ramble, if you guys ever come to one, I'm just rambling. You're just gonna have to say shut up because I'm gonna ramble. Because I've tried to do it before with my Why Artists Hate Capitalism videos. And it was very hard to say to just do the too long didn't read of. People just don't understand what it is and they don't understand that their frustrations are misguided. Because I didn't want to go too political with it and just kind of like do surface level of a lot of frustrations tend to be with government laws, you know, envy, willingness to not go the extra mile, stuff like that. And it's not hate, it's rage bait. I can't do rage bait. I can't. I really honestly can't. If I'm raging, it's authentic. It is
Make other
purely
people angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprisingly good at that.
All I can do making noise is shock people. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah, I generally want people in the creative fields to succeed, and it drives me nuts when they are struggling, and instead of acknowledging it could just be them, it's just a blaming of capitalism in the rich man. And I'm like,
Or
no.
each other.
Or each other. And it's a trend I start seeing that once an artist or creative gets to a higher level, they become the bad guy. And it becomes nobody wants to get to that higher level because they don't want to lose their friends. They don't want to be the bad guy just because they're successful. And that's something I've always wanted to change, because it's like, no, you should be proud people can get to a higher level and be more successful, because that means you can do it too. It may not look the same. It may take a little longer, or it may not take longer. It's the crap.
Most people do not have the capacity to do so.
No.
Self-reflection and self-awareness is difficult.
I'm learning that the hard way. And I'm like, gotta let it go. Gotta let it go, Missy. Just drop it. This person can't do it. Just drop it. And it's sad to me. It is. And like I said, I generally want people, even if you are some crazy leftist, if you can succeed and do something for yourself, yes, why would I not want you to do that? But I just need to learn to let things go with these people.
Don't blame your failures on other people.
Yeah. Like I like, that's why I like when I did this whole notebook, I'll even show you. Hold on, to make sure I don't have anything. There we go. Like I went and evaluated every aspect of my business. What are my income streams and what just isn't working? Like I gave myself a mirror and I just stared into it, because there was no way I could ever get anywhere if I didn't.
Correct.
And some of it sucked, like I did my whole, let me see if I have it in here. My time. It should be in there. I just don't know where. Shot plan. Oh jeez. This one? Nope. Time assessment. I did a whole page of, yeah, I could probably see that. Let's see. I mean, I know it's not like super visible here. It's not the greatest camera, but we're making attempts here, guys. I'm sorry. I have a 9-to-5 job, right? And overtime can be anywhere from an hour to 5 hours. And then I had to figure out on those overtime days, what can I do to keep my business going without falling behind? And a lot of that is stupid stuff like paperwork, taxes, inventory, sales logs. And then I can at least do something. But then I was like, well, how much time do I have realistically in a week? So I have 8-hour working, and I gave myself a 4-hour buffer in case I have to do that overtime. I have an hour to eat, make dinner, eat all that stuff. And I think in a week, well, I don't know. It's like 13 hours of my day already. And I just started breaking this down. Like, this may not make sense to anyone looking at it, because in my head it did. I had maybe 20, 21 hours a week to work on the business.
Mm-hmm.
And writing that down, I was like, well, shit, I am doing too much. And I don't have a lot of free time to do all of the things I want to do. So I really need to downsize. I really need to focus on 2 to 3 primary goals and leave it at that. Because if I do anything else, I'm just going to fall behind and I'm not going to be able to get anything done. And that was like the biggest wake-up call for me. And that's why I'm like, I really need to buckle down and focus on things. I need to get like these things right here. It sucks that I'm removing them, the commissions and the coffee stuff. But I have to if I ever want this to keep growing. And a lot of people, it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm comfortable enough that I'm okay with saying, wow, that sucked. Wow, I really failed there. Wow, that's just not working. And it's okay for me to pause it or stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
I'm just rambling again. I'm sorry.
No, you could. Hey, you're on to something there.
Yeah. So that's
a lot
why
of people don't do that.
Yeah. And that's why like as a creative who's trying to do this business thing too, I want to set that example of if I show that I'm doing this and saying, wow, this sucks. I failed here and I really can't keep doing that. It's okay for me to stop. I'm hoping that shows other creatives that they can do the same thing, that it's okay to stop. It's okay. No one's going to get mad. You know,
Someone's going to get mad.
You know what? They don't matter. Screw them.
They can get mad all they want. Doesn't matter.
Right. And then I think one thing I needed to do too is outline videos in general for this quarter. I do want to continue my Krita tutorial videos because that's my evergreen content. And I have honestly helped a lot of people. And the purpose of that is to show you can go after your creative goals and not have to be broke. You know, like that's why I use a lot of non-Adobe stuff, freeware, open source stuff. So I think maybe I need to reevaluate my tutorials and make them more specific now instead of just here's how to use the tool. I feel like that's a lot, but
it's a good idea.
Yeah. I feel like I'm branching into things, but I also don't want to advertise myself as like really knowledgeable in everything to use Krita for. You know, like I've used it for 3D printing designs and stuff like that. So I made a video on it, which has helped people, which is great. But with comics and stuff, I don't want to be like, yeah, I know how to make comics. I know that I'm not the end all be all of source of knowledge for that. But I can tell you how to set the files up. I can tell you how to organize it. I can tell you from experience what worked and what didn't work. You know, so maybe I can do something like that.
I think so. I mean, generally speaking, I try to preface everything that I offer anyone as far as advice or education with, in my opinion, or what works for me.
Yeah.
And leave it at that, because I'm not saying you should do this. Like, I'm not going to point at the screen and go, this is how you do the thing. You figure out how you do the thing. I'll give you some ideas.
And I think, that's a good thing. I can do that.
Yeah.
And I think now that I have the first comic done, I have more data, experience, whatever to do that with. So maybe I'll do like my experience using Krita to make my first comic. And then I can talk about the shortcomings, the things that worked really well, things I actually really enjoyed.
Well, there you go. You got a couple of subjects right there. You can make at least 3 videos.
That's true. I am running out of space. Series. Okay. And then I can use that as a catalyst to how I'm making or what I'm changing going forward for book 2 and for the webcomic. I think that'll work. Because I've actually already started the first thumbnail page for that one.
Nice.
I'm excited. It's just me going to be winging it. I'm not going to take it too seriously. I'm just going to have fun with it, see where it goes. I'm very excited for it because I'm taking some inspiration from classic fairy tales.
Needs to be more of that in the world.
Yeah, I love classic fairy tales. I used to have an anthology book of a ton of different fairy tales, and there was one that stuck out to me, and I'm like, wow, this was weird. A horse's head got chopped off, and all of a sudden went to talk to this lady, like the horse head, just talking to her. I'm like, what the hell? But it's fun, you know. That's what a classic fairy tale is, you know. So I'm thinking a little, yeah, magic and freaking someone was on drugs type thing, but it's fun and I liked it. I need to go find this book.
Psychedelics.
Psychedelics. Psychedelic stories from the 1700s, you know. But I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from that.
Hey, if they can do an entire TV series called Drunk History, you can do psychedelics.
This is true. This is very true. Oh, okay. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I felt like I wasn't sure what to do, but this is really, really helpful. And I do appreciate you like brainstorming and bouncing off ideas with me. That I think that helps. You know what? I think this is a testament that if you want to do something for your goals, bounce it off somebody. Ideas. Just talk it out. It really does help.
It's literally what my coaching sessions are.
Yes. All right. So Daniel's trying to get me to be a client. I think that's what this was about.
Everybody can be my client. Come on, folks.
Everyone go be Daniel's client. We're gonna make him work so hard he has no time to sleep.
I'll always find time. I may not sleep, but I'll always find time.
Oh, that's good. I think this is good. I mean, March isn't really filled out, but I think
it's your review month.
Yeah, that is true. It's my review month. And it's weird because I'm like, there's 31 days in a month, and this is all I have to put there. And it's like, no, you have a day job. You have to eat. You have things you have to do. This is actually quite a bit already, given what I have going on.
Well, on your quarterly review period, though, you don't want to overload yourself. There's
true, yeah.
Nothing wrong with having less things to do on that specific month so you can do your analysis.
Yeah, and that's a good time to do a good hard look at what is working, what isn't, and I kind of, because February is also generally a shorter month. I mean, even though it's like 2 to 3 days shorter, it's still enough that it makes an impact. Maybe I can also say, March being my review month, I can have any rollover stuff from January and February to finalize in March.
True.
And that could be my grace days. That March can be my grace period, where we did it, guys. I have grace days. I'm allowing myself to fall behind, but giving myself a catch-up month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also when I have to prep for taxes, and that's just going to suck overall. So I'm going to write that down, because if I don't, taxes. All right. I think I'm good.
Success.
Major success. I look forward to telling you what worked and didn't work. And maybe we'll do a quarterly review thing, and just, always helps chalk things out. And that's like a personal goal going into 2025, is just being more open to asking for help and being like, does this sound good? Did I just completely go off the rails? What the hell did I do? Can you help me figure out what the hell I just did? Because I have those moments.
We all do.
Yeah.
Even me.
Well, you do a good job of not showing it. That's not like has this shit together.
My daughter says that I am the living embodiment of that meme with the dog sitting in the house on fire.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect. Oh, goodness. I mean, I can do that at work, but with my own stuff, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think part of it is because at work I have semi-clear vision of what needs to be done, because that's what the work is. And then here, I'm responsible for that vision.
Yeah, but if you treat it the same way, that just alters your mindset back into the professional state.
Oh, that's true. I'll try that one week, maybe. Just be like, if this were work, what would it look like? From a production standpoint, I guess. Okay. I don't know. I'm good. I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, Daniel?
I'm good. I'm all prepared for 2025. We've got a lot to do.
I'm excited for your stuff. I am. I am excited to see your daily videos with the indie news stuff. And kind of being that centralized point for that information and all the goings on.
Yeah, that's my hope. And, on top of that, I've still got the regular slate of, new projects to put out too. So
Yes.
we'll see how it all goes. But, I'm pretty confident that I'll at least make it on time.
There you go. You know what? That's perfect.
Yeah. I might have pulled half of my hair out by the time it happened. I have a lot of hair, in case most of you don't know. There's like an entire
there you go,
mass of hair for me to rip out.
So we have to like screenshot you periodically throughout the year and see what happens. Thank you, Jose. Yes, I wish the same thing. We will all be successful in 2025. We're not gonna. We might stumble a little bit. I know I'm gonna stumble, but because we're a little bit more prepared, it won't be so bad.
Doesn't matter how many times you fall, matters how many times you get up.
Oh yeah. I've gotten up many a time. So I think we're good to end it here. That's good for you. I feel confident. I feel more confident in trying out new things, and I got new ideas going. So
good. Glad to hear.
Thank you for coming on and hanging out and bouncing ideas and sharing with us too what you're going to be doing in 2025. A lot of people don't like to share those things.
Well, I could go on for probably another 45 minutes with all the stuff that I have planned.
Well, hopefully, when we do quarter one review, I would like to have you back on, and
okay.
I would like to talk to you more about what you are going to be doing, and not
Sounds
just
good.
me. Because I do like hearing stuff from your perspective, especially because you do a lot of coaching and everything. I do value like your input and your perspective because of that, and I've seen it in action. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today and brainstorming. I hope if you're watching this on replay, let me know. I would love to hear what you're going to be doing in 2025. Even if you don't have a business, if you have other goals and this kind of like gave you some ideas how to achieve those goals, I would love to hear it because 2025 is going to be a great year. I feel it in my bones. I think we're all going to have like, what the hell happened and what is going on moments in a good way, So I'm excited for everybody. Oh, thanks, Vulcan. Glad it was chill stream. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you next time.